reps to pros and everything in between. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome into a Friday edition of Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant here with you this afternoon, getting you ready for a fun weekend of college football. Nothing better than college football's opening weekend and, well, really opening week. It's been going on since Wednesday and had some fantastic games last night. We'll talk about those in this show. We'll talk about tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday games that we have on slate. Hope you guys are getting ready for your Labor Day weekend. I know I am, Mo. Are you ready for Labor Day weekend?
We still got this little matter of Friday night football to get taken care of that we are actually involved in. But other than that, yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready to get there because relaxation after a long weekend or a long Friday night is always a good day.
No doubt.
So
looking forward to it.
Chilling out on a Friday or a Saturday afternoon, watching a little ball. I don't get to do that very often with my side gig. So when I do, I like to enjoy it.
Take full advantage.
That's right. We've got a great show lined up for you. We've got our top stories later this segment. In segment 2, we're going to talk about last night's ball games. Tennessee, obviously, and UCF and Boise State. We'll talk a little bit about the NFL and the Titans. Even though they're not playing this weekend, we still want to give you a little update about what's going on with them. And we will, in the future on Fridays, we will have an entire segment dedicated to the Titans. So we'll definitely talk about them and the rest of the NFL later this hour. In hour number 2, kind of giving you an idea of what this show is going to sound like going forward on Fridays. It's pretty much all college and pro football. At the top of the second hour, we're going to talk about teams in Tennessee. So Tennessee Tech, UT Chattanooga, Austin P, Martin, MTSU, Memphis, Tennessee State, and then we'll also reach down into Florence and talk a little bit about North Alabama as well. So you're going to get a lot of local coverage here. So, we're going to dive into those games a little bit. And then of course, we're going to tell you about our thoughts on the Southeastern Conference, because that is what we know. We have previewed all 14 Southeastern Conference teams. We've previewed all 16 future SEC teams, but we've done that. And now it is time to take that knowledge that we have obtained from those beat writers and pass it along to you in one short segment. And then of course we're going to do our Pick'em. Pick'em is available on ESPN, and the link is available on our Twitter account at SM_TN Sports, at SM_TN Sports. I'm going to pin that link to the top of our account. So if you just go to our account, it'll be the first tweet that you see, a link to our Pick'em. It is against the spread. We're going to give you our picks on the show. So you're going to know where we're sitting before you even make your picks. So feel free to do that. Before we get started, we do want to do our normal high school results and schedule and give you the Friday rundown.
This is the Rundown. The Friday Rundown is brought to you by Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb & Associates. The voice of the Blue Raiders also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Contact Chip at 615-542-1915 or through his website at choosechip.net. Chip Walters, proud to support local youth sports in Southern Middle Tennessee.
In middle school football action on Thursday, Columbia Academy defeated Franklin Road Academy 20-14. It was E.O. Kaufman 50, E.A. Cox 6. Lewisburg defeated Withorn 14-8. Mount Pleasant defeated Collinwood 38-6. And in North Murray County, it was Battle Creek 32, Spring Hill 12. Also in high school football action last night, Tennessee Heat defeated Zion Christian 27-20.
In a volleyball action, Hampshire blanked Lewis County 3-0. Loretto a 3-0 winner over Mount Pleasant. Summertown also a shutout of Perry County 3-0 and Independence 3, Columbia Central 0. We did not have a score from Fayetteville Culleoka.
In girls soccer on Thursday, Mount Juliet defeated Franklin County 6-2. It was Culleoka and Fairview playing to a 2-2 draw. Huntland blanked Richland 2-0. Lincoln County doubled up Columbia Central 4-2. Franklin with the 1-0 win over Independence, and Providence Christian all over Columbia Academy 9-0.
In high school football action tonight, all kickoffs at 7 p.m. Independence travels to Centennial, while Summit also goes to Brentwood. It's Franklin County coming to Columbia Central and Spring Hill going to Page. Lawrence County is hosting Montgomery Central.
Also on Friday night, tonight, 7 o'clock kicks. Cascade at Mount Pleasant, Richland at Summertown, Loretto at Forest, Cornersville is at Huntland, and Columbia Academy travels to Jackson Christian.
In volleyball action tonight, Hampshire is at Columbia Central. That's at 6 p.m. Loretto's going over to the Chattanooga Choo Choo Classic, while Summit is at the Collierville Invitational all weekend. Loretto at Chattanooga as well on Saturday. Summit will be in Collierville on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then tonight, obviously in girls soccer action, Zion Christian is at Providence Christian. So that's going to do it for your Friday rundown. Well, let's get into our top stories. We need to talk about the Braves first, and we have to talk about the Braves. We have committed to this. So yes, even on high school and college football day, we're still going to talk about the Atlanta Braves at least through September, hopefully a little longer.
I feel like it'll be a little longer if they continue to play 9 innings like they did last night. Gave up a big 5-run fourth to the Rockies, keyed by a grand slam home run after a probably not great decision on Tukey Toussaint on a sac bunt attempt where he went for the lead runner, didn't make a great throw, wound up leading to a grand slam, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Adam Duvall with his 30th home run of the year, basically the difference in a 6-5 win out at Colorado in the first game of a 4-game series. So big comeback win for them, big night for Duvall. 30s were wild as Duvall got his 30th home run and Will Smith got his 30th save. Faced the minimum in the 9th. Wow. Notice I did not say 3 up, 3 down.
Yeah. How did he get the double play?
Double play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, big win. Nice bounce back after the sweep in LA. And still a 2-game lead over the Phillies, they're coming.
Yeah. Well, they keep getting to play the Nationals.
Well, I mean,
I think that series is finally over.
We went through that stretch.
I know it. So, I know it. It's going to come down to that last week, Phillies and Mets, those 6 games. I really feel like that's going to be the key there. Waskari Noah gets a chance to get back on track tonight.
Yeah, 4-4 with a 2.90 ERA as he continues to come back from that broken hand. Senzatella, 3-9 with a 4.18 ERA, gets the start for the Rockies. That's a 7:40 start again tonight on Bally Sports South. Cannot hear it on our sister station tonight. They'll be a little busy.
You'll hear the golden tones of Lee Maddox instead.
And a cast of thousands as Columbia Central takes on visiting Franklin County at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. You gonna step in there with him at halftime?
Probably not. I will be adding. That's what I do.
I understand. Brave Series continues this weekend, 7:10 on Saturday night, 2:10 on Sunday afternoon. So
always fun to get a 4-game series in Colorado. If you win, it's great.
Yeah. Well,
I'll take a split at this point. They're really good at home, but clearly we hit the ball pretty well there too.
They can throw a scare into you. I mean, offensively, but It's kind of like Eric Fetty facing Eric Fetty. You feel like you're going to score some runs.
We're going to score some runs. It's just a matter of keeping them off the board as long as you can.
Right.
Moving on in top stories, Bonnaroo canceled. But if you're here and you are looking for something to do on Saturday, MTSU's got you covered.
They do. Following the cancellation of this year's Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival due to heavy rain in the mid-state area, Middle Tennessee is offering all Bonnaroo ticket holders for this year's festival free entry to Saturday's season-opening football game against Monmouth. You can show your tickets at either box office located at gates 1, 3, or 4 the day of the game, that's Saturday, to receive reserved seat tickets while supplies last. Fans can enjoy many of the game day amenities around Floyd Stadium, including tailgating in the Grove, the Family Fun Zone, and the Blue Raider Beer Garden located in the south end zone for guests age 21 and older. That's a fun hang.
You know where the beer garden is.
I do know where the beer garden is. It like I said, that's a fun hang. Great view of the field. Nice libations, and it's just a good atmosphere down there. They did a great job with that when they set it up a couple of years ago. Obviously,
and it's MTSU brewed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's available. Is there anything else available?
I think it's all MTSU.
All MTSU brewed beer.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I like the way they do it. I mean, that's doing it big right there.
Yeah, Chris Massaro, our athletic department hurts for our friends in the Middle Tennessee community because of this setback. MTSU has a long history of the university and its alumni supporting Bonnaroo every year, both as guests and in its operation. And we hope that this offer to come to our campus and enjoy some Blue Raider football this Saturday can help those affected make the best out of an unfortunate circumstance. So
I certainly hope they do. I hope they make the best of it. I hope they enjoy it. I hope you guys all enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of fun as MTSU takes on Monmouth. FCS Power Monmouth.
Yeah.
I mean,
Big South defending champion. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
6:00 kick for that ball game over at Johnny Red Floyd Stadium.
Get there earlier.
Check it out.
Stake
out a spot in the beer garden.
That's right. A couple minutes left here. Just want to ask you this because we're about to get into this deep into it with college football. Is this the biggest week one ever?
It seems so with some of the matchups that you're talking about, and I just think the excitement, right, wrong, or otherwise, of full. With things being wide open, so to speak, as far as fan attendance at these games and that kind of thing, I think things feel a little bit more normal than they have in college athletics in a while. And like I said, with some of these matchups, and we're going to be talking more about those later in the show, it feels pretty big.
It's to me, it seems really odd that college football seems more normal while high school football feels less normal than last year.
Well, I don't know that college classes have started yet.
Well, not only that, but you're able to you're less limited in your options when you're a college program. You can have kids, you can have just your football kids in certain areas, and you're just less limited because college campuses are just so big. You can put them so many different places. So I get it. I think this is one of the biggest weekends that we've ever seen in college football, and started with the UAB's win over Jacksonville State on Wednesday, 31-0, and it'll end with Lane Kiffin and Louisville on Monday. That game's in Atlanta.
And there's some conference matchups in between.
That's insane, but we'll talk about it. We'll get to all of that and much more on the other side of our first break here. So we would like for you guys to stick around on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be right back right after this.
covering the teams you care about. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Once again, live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We are in the Lee Company studio, coming to you from WKOM 1017 FM and WZYX 94.5 The Eagle. Glad to have you along with us on this Friday afternoon as we get you set for college and, well, all college this weekend. Pro coming up next weekend. Really excited about it. We'll still talk about the Titans a little bit later. But right now, I want to talk about some games that took place last night, specifically this Tennessee Bowling Green game. Full disclosure, I did not get to see the first half, probably for the better.
Not necessarily, because the first quarter was probably Tennessee's best quarter of the night.
I just feel like going into the half 14-6 was I did it. Start over. Can we go back to something else, JP? JP.
We can. Your video is going to be off.
That's fine. That's a little
What did you say?
The Aflac commercial here apparently decided to play because I'm on ESPN's box score here.
It didn't come through.
It did not come through.
No.
Well, interesting. I guess that's good information to have.
Sometimes it may be better to just play on.
Just keep going. So out there, if you're watching our YouTube, that was frustrating. But Mo, Joe Milton, his statistical line doesn't look great. What did you think of what you saw out of him overall?
He didn't look great, but I thought there was some potential there. There's something to work with. I mean, the arm is there. The arm talent, as people like to say. I feel like they've got some receivers that can make some plays. There's probably some better decision making that needs to take place. But it was his first game in that offense. He's going to have to look better, going forward. But there's some stuff there to work with, and there's some stuff there to coach off of, I think.
In the second half, when I did get to see him, it looked like he was pretty decisive when he wanted to tuck it and run it.
Yeah, there were some times that he could have broken the pocket and taken off quicker than he did, probably. But when he does decide to go, again, 6'5", 245, he can make some things happen in the run game. I don't think he is a run-first guy by any stretch, and rightfully so. But I just think there's a lot there to work with. Tennessee fans, man. They picked it apart. I mean, and there's a lot of improvement that's going to have to be made. I mean, it was Bowling Green. They left some points out there probably, but it's not Georgia State.
Didn't lose.
Yeah.
To Georgia State or Bowling Green at this point.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you have to take the positives that came out of there. I think you have to be cautiously optimistic. But
326 yards on the ground is solid. That's a good night.
Out of a couple of guys that, you didn't necessarily know what you were going to get out of either of those guys.
Right. Tyon Evans and Jabari Small both going for 116 yards.
116?
116
each.
Yes, specifically.
That's funny.
Jabari did it on 22 carries, Tyon on 16. 7.3 yards a carry. I'll take that every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
They kind of give you a little thunder and lightning kind of look too, with Evans kind of the bigger, more physical guy. And small, able to get the edge a lot more and make plays on the outside.
In the third quarter, which again, that I watched the second half. The Tennessee gets a stop on fourth down. They drive down to what would have been the 5-yard line, except a holding penalty, and then another holding penalty
By the same guy.
Back-to-back plays, and then Joe Milton throws an absolute dart and hits Jalen Hyatt right between the numbers,
Between the ones.
and he drops it.
That wasn't his only drop either.
And so that's kind of that's going to be concerning because Jalen Hyatt's supposed to be your guy.
He needs to be your guy.
Right.
I mean, he has the
tools.
He has everything that would make him your guy. And he's been there. I started to say he's been in the offense, but he hasn't. But I mean, he's been in the program. He's played SEC ball games. I mean, he's got all the tools. I think Javonte Payton, the kid from Hillsborough High School who previously played at Mississippi State, is going to be a significant contributor in the passing game as well. Tillman caught a big ball late for a touchdown.
That was a really good catch too.
Yeah. Well, it was a good catch because the throw wasn't.
The throw was
great.
Not great, but the catch was fantastic.
Yeah.
He bailed him out right there.
Mm-hmm. So you've got some opportunities to make some plays in the passing game. You'll see from game 1 to game 2 and on. I think you'll see some improvement because again, folks weren't exactly pleased with a 38-6 victory. So we'll see how it goes.
I mean, you got to be careful being upset, but you also don't want to be, we won 38-6. Well, it's Bowling Green.
Right. That's what you were supposed to do, basically. So, yeah.
But you did what you were supposed to do, which is something that you've not done.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key,
that hasn't always
Tennessee
been
fans.
The case. Yeah. So
especially over the last decade. Held Bowling Green to 32 yards on the ground. Which obviously you're supposed to be bigger, stronger up front. That's where you should win the ball game, is up front.
I felt like that there were some tackles that were missed, though. I didn't realize what the defensive performance was from a yardage standpoint, but I didn't feel like they necessarily played great from start to finish on that side of the ball.
I guess my point is that in the past we've been whipped up front, even by inferior opponents.
Sure.
And to be able to go in and hold a team to 32 rushing yards, no matter who it is,
and keep them out of the end zone.
It's a big deal.
It is. I mean, regardless of who it is, I think it's a big deal because, again, like you said, they've not done that every time they should have.
I'm certainly glad that they were able to find their mojo a little bit on defense. Just, if nothing else, just pushing people around.
Mm-hmm.
So, congratulations, Tennessee. That's all I'm going to say.
1-0.
1-0. That's all you can ask.
That's all you can do.
Just
Ask
win.
James Franklin.
That's right. Just win, baby.
1-0.
UCF Boise. Now, I didn't watch any of this one, but I did go back and kind of give it a look-see on the highlights and whatnot. Was there another forward lateral situation in this one? Because I couldn't tell.
You mean the pass where the Boise quarterback was across the line of scrimmage and got picked off? Or are you talking? I'm not sure.
It may have been that one, but how do you assess that? How did they assess that?
There was no penalty.
No, he was past the line, but they didn't call anything. Well, worked
But
out.
what you would have, excuse me, what you would have called would have been illegal forward pass, which the defense would have declined.
Right.
So, I mean, the play was going to stand whether you called it or not. So, given how it turned out.
Sure. Are you surprised at the outcome of this with, being in Orlando with UCF getting the win?
I'm not surprised that Central Florida beat Boise 36-21. I'm 36-31. I am surprised that UCF came back for a 36-31 win after trailing 21-0.
Yeah, especially when you go into halftime after being down 21-0, then you cut it to 24-14. I think the hallmark of a good coach is what happens in the locker room in those 20 minutes. And I think we learned a lot last night about 2 first-year coaches.
Yeah.
And so I don't think UCF is going to be in the, playing for a Peach Bowl.
You don't think they'll be claiming any mythical national championships this year?
Yeah, I can't imagine that they will be. But I mean, if they're 8-3 and they play Alabama, Gus Malzahn might win. That's what he likes to do.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I don't know if you saw it last night, but apparently UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, and BYU to the Big 12 is getting legs. Yeah, Big 12.
I can't imagine. Well, BYU is a unique situation in itself because BYU, like Notre Dame, an independent, a religious institution. So I don't know how their finances work and if they need to be in a conference or if they don't, or if it's better. That may be, and I know there are other religious institutions who are in conferences such as Wake Forest, et cetera. So I don't know really how that works as far as the money goes, but it would be good for BYU and for UCF to be in the Big 12. I just think it's a little goofy to have a team in Utah and a team in Orlando, Florida in the same conference.
Well, I mean, as we've said in discussing these conference realignments, it's not about geography anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah, it's not, and it doesn't have to be, because it's. I mean, most of these teams, not all of them, but most of these Power 5 teams have got chartered planes. Like, it just is what it is because they're making enough money. So I get it. Gus Malzahn and in a UCF visor is hilarious, by the way.
Well, he's going to be an advisor, so
there's no doubt there. Other games that took place last night that we will get into a little bit later. Samford 52-14 over Tennessee Tech. Austin Peay with the win over Chattanooga. So well done to the Governors, 30-20. At least one team in Bowling Green won last night.
Well, at least one team in the OVC won last night.
Well, way to go, Austin Peay. Western Kentucky, a 59-21 winner over Martin. I loathe Tennessee Chattanooga. Okay. They are Jacksonville State's biggest rival. They're the closest team in proximity that's another FCS team. And we've always hated those guys, right? So Austin Peay, the only team to deal JSU a conference loss last year, getting that win over Chattanooga. Well done.
Okay,
big fan of the Governors.
So you're a big fan of the Governors, even though they are the only team to give Jacksonville State a conference loss last year.
I am, because we don't have to play them anymore. We're not in the same conference. So who cares?
So you loathe UTC more than you do.
Oh yeah,
Austin Peay.
Austin Peay does. I can take or leave Austin Peay. So yeah, we'll talk about those games later, along with other MTSU, Memphis, Tennessee State, and UNA. First, though, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Tennessee Titans and the National Football League. I am a little surprised by some of the names that are on the practice squad in Tennessee because I thought some other teams might pick them up. We'll get some thoughts on the practice squad and whether or not COVID is going to make an impact on this team. To me, it feels like they kind of did the, hey, let's all get COVID now so we don't have to worry about it later type thing. So who knows? I don't know how that works, but you get COVID before the season. That way you don't have to worry about getting it during the season. That's what the Titans were doing. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that all on the other side of the break. So stick around on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mo Patton, Chris Yao, and JP Plant coming back to the Lee Company studio right after a quick word from our sponsors.
Raiders to the two-tone blue, covering the teams you care about. It's only on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant coming to you from the Lee Company studio, and we are glad to be doing so on this fine Friday afternoon. Pretty pumped about this football season as we're getting ready for high school football tonight, and you can continue to listen to our coverage of high school sports right after this show on WKOM and WZYX from 6 o'clock until 6:50. We'll have you covered from Bristol to Memphis and Portland to Loretto, all the way across the state. Doesn't matter where you're at. We'll tell you about the 12 best games, 13 most intriguing games. We have an extra. We added a little bonus game this week. So
Baker's dozen.
That's right. Got a baker's dozen of them. And you will hear that on WKOM 101.7, WZYX 94.5, and other great radio stations across the state. And then TriStar Friday Night Live comes to you right after your local game from around 9:30-ish to 11. So giving you scores and thoughts from every game in the state of Tennessee. So going to be a lot of fun. Stick around after this show for more from Chris and Mo. And JP will be very heavily involved in that. So as we move to talking about the Tennessee Titans, Mo, visiting TitanInsider.com, a Main Street media publication, Terry McCormick with a story on a lot of roster moves. I mean, it's kind of it'd be easier if I just saw a list, but there's quite a bit going on right now. It appears that Luke Stocker has been waived, which pretty much tells you that Anthony Ferkser is the tight end one and is going to be the tight end one. And I think Anthony Ferkser is going to have either a really, really good year or he's going to be useless. And I think it's going to be the former. I just
explain the useless.
I feel like he's going to either have just a monster season or he's going to be in over his head because having to be tight end one without someone like Jonnu ahead of him with the pressure of being tight end one. I don't think that's going to be the case. I just think it's going to be one or the other. He's either going to catch 50 balls and, 8 or 9 touchdowns, or he's going to catch 10 and nothing.
I don't think he's going to be in over his head. And when you look at what the Titans have on the outside, I just feel like this is going to be an offense that is tailor-made for a tight end to really just blow up.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I think he's going to end up having that monster year.
Yeah. And I don't really see another scenario.
Based on what we've seen from him, absolutely. He's
because I don't think tight end one really makes a difference, because this is an offense that has taken what it's been given for the most part. And so regardless of who the tight end is, I think when the tight end gets opportunities to eat, as you were saying, they've taken advantage of them, whether it was Michael Pruitt or Jonnu Smith or Delaney Walker or whoever it was. Now, when Delaney was here, we didn't have the receivers.
Right.
So
Delaney was kind of the guy.
He was the guy. But I don't think tight ends are going to be the guy when you've got Julio Jones and A.J. Brown and Josh Reynolds. So, and
yet he's going to end up having a bunch of catches.
He's going to have a
bunch
of catches for exactly, because when those three guys go out and make guys turn their backs and run with them, and then Ferkser is circling underneath, covered by a linebacker, I just think that there's going to be mismatches there that are going to get exploited by him. So,
yeah, I agree. Matt Barkley and Amani Bledsoe end up back on the practice squad, along with a surprising Des Fitzpatrick.
I'm not sure how surprising it is. I mean, maybe other folks saw or didn't see the same things that the Titans saw or didn't see and didn't feel like, trying to bring him in, because if he was going to be on the Titans practice squad, then the only way anybody could add them would be to their active roster.
That's right.
And I don't know what there is that he would have done over this preseason that would have warranted a spot on somebody's active roster this close to the season.
No, I don't disagree. It's surprising because he cost you 3 picks, and
still in the organization though. So, and I'll say this. I think J-Rob and the front office deserve a tip of the hat for not allowing he cost you 3 picks to dictate you putting him on the active roster.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got into an argument this week about AJ McCarron, and well, if AJ's so good, why was he a backup forever? Well, most of the time you either draft a quarterback high or you've went and got a high dollar guy.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not gonna bring in a guy like AJ McCarron and then start him over a guy you've picked in the first round, or a guy that you're paying $7 million a year to,
unless you're the Seattle Seahawks.
Well,
but that's one.
Yeah, that's the only time.
Yeah,
and you're just
and you can't argue with those results either.
No, but my point, is that most GMs, whether that guy's good enough or not, is going to play because of
we've got this invested in him.
We've got an investment in him. Yeah. And so, like you said, credit to J-Rob for realizing that.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. We've talked about this on this show with Andrew. There were cuts made at that wide receiver position of guys who did nothing wrong, who had great camps, just because we had 9 of them. We had 9 good receivers.
Well, I mean, when they say it's a numbers game, there you are.
I mean, Mason Kinsey did nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He had a fantastic camp, undrafted D3 guy. But Mason Kinsey looked like he could play in the NFL the entire camp. Now, 3 years ago, that guy's the 4th receiver. He's receiver 4.
Yeah, it speaks to how they've upgraded at that position. When with an AJ Brown, and then going out and making a move that 3 years ago you would have never expected this franchise to make. Just because they didn't do dynamic things like that.
Are you expecting Arizona to come in here, which, by the way, Arizona is in shambles right now? Do you think the Titans are just going to obliterate Cliff Kingsbury?
No, I don't. I don't think they're going to obliterate him, and I'll tell you why. Running quarterbacks are an X factor. Now, if you get a shot on a Kyler Murray, you can knock him out the ball game because he's little. But I don't know that anybody's really gotten a shot on Kyler Murray since he's been in the league.
It's hard. Well, that's because he's little. there's less body to hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you gotta really be.
And he's aware of that, But I just think he presents an issue in terms of when things break down, guys like that are at their most dangerous.
They went out and got James Conner, and we'll talk about this next week.
Mhm.
They went out and got James Conner to shore up that running game. He and Chase Edmonds are battling for that starting position. It looks like Chase Edmonds is going to enter the season as the starter, but a guy like James Conner is one, he's been around a little bit,
He's
4 or 5 years.
He's been around. He's dealt with some adversity in his personal life, obviously.
he's really good.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, when you're in Pittsburgh, that's what you do.
Mhm.
But is there any chance that Chase Edmonds is going to be a dynamic force for Arizona? Is that he's not a guy that we're going to have to worry about?
I don't think so. I think the passing game with the receiver they got from Houston, whose name escapes me, and with number 10,
gosh, that is
from Clemson.
That is blowing my mind right now. Wow. Heck is his name?
I cannot think of his name.
Can you think of the guy's name?
Number
From
10?
Houston?
From
Yeah.
Houston?
Yeah.
The guy that
For
Kubiak
Arizona, yeah.
dealt.
Deshaun Watson?
No.
The receiver.
The receiver.
It starts with an A. That is going to blow my mind right now. My mind is blown that I cannot think of this guy's name to save my life.
Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins. That guy. Man, that's just the fact that he was in the AFC South and dominated the Titans for so long. Maybe we just tried to block him out of our mind.
Selective amnesia.
That's
exactly.
what it was.
Yeah. And playing in Arizona, you're out of sight, out of
Oh,
mind. But
gosh.
DeAndre Hopkins and 86-year-old Larry Fitzgerald. I mean,
Is
still
Fitz
making
playing?
plays. Yeah.
I thought he retired. I don't know.
No, he's still out there.
I can remember him being on the cover of NCAA football 2004 or something.
They drafted Rondale Moore out of Purdue.
They did.
They've got Christian Kirk, who played at A&M. AJ Green is out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've
got some weapons.
They've really loaded up at receiver to try to cover up the lack of a running game.
Yeah.
And then if they come out and go 4 wide and go 4 verts
against the secondary. And here's the key is we all know the pass rush. Can the Titans get any pressure on Kyler Murray? And if they can they contain
and
him?
See, that's the thing.
You're right.
When they don't get a pass rush, then everybody's like, oh, here we go again. They can't get to the quarterback. Well, nobody gets to this guy.
Yeah. You're not going for sacks here. You're going for contain and pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Force him to step
Make him
up.
get it out.
Yeah. Force him
quicker
to
than he
step up
wants to.
into the pocket instead of being able to do goofy stuff.
Yeah.
Like Mahomes does sometimes. So, all right, we're going to come back and talk college football locally on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Stick around.
From preps to pros and everything in between, it's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Leak Company Studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant with you here on this now Friday evening as we move past 5 o'clock. Thank you guys for hanging out with us here on this college football-led show, pretty much. And we are going to continue covering college football in the second hour. Local teams, I say local, teams in Tennessee and UNA. So that's what we're calling local right now. So we're going to reach into the OVC and beyond, into the AAC, talk a little Memphis. We'll talk a little, I guess, HBCUs, because Prime is going to be on prime time. No, it's a 2 o'clock game on Sunday, but that's prime time on Sunday.
No doubt. Yeah.
Got a lot to get to in this segment.
Hopefully at some point we're going to touch on a team that you are interested in.
That's our point. That's our goal here.
No.
Is that locally,
if only for a couple of minutes. Yeah.
That's right. And to do that, why don't we just start with a game that was played last night that has a local connection?
Yeah. The local connection did not come out the way he would have liked, as Samford defeated Tennessee Tech 52-14. Tech of the OVC dropping their opener. But, again, a little local flavor in this one.
Yeah, Spring Hill product. Justin Oden with a 10-yard pass from Davis Shanley. With 2:25 to go in the first half, cuts the lead 17-7. So they were hanging in there at halftime. But
second half, not so much.
Second half, not so much. But Justin Oden out of Spring Hill with a touchdown grab. That's pretty cool.
I think they were excited to be able to sign him about 3 years ago. We've got some local guys up there. Ty Carter is up there playing cornerback, I believe.
Yeah, and that's one of the unfortunate parts of OVC and statistics and whatnot. You don't get defensive statistics, so I'd love to know what Ty did, because he was a big tackler for them for a while. Yeah. Like he made a lot of tackles for them. So
defensive stats, not quite as easy to come by.
They really aren't, even at the college level. So there you go. Tennessee Tech they've been struggling for a while now, and Samford has not. Samford has been really good in that Southern Conference. So this is not a game that you can base what you're going to get out of the Golden Eagles all year.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sue.
We can have this conversation
tomorrow.
Yeah, later this weekend, I think. But like you said, this is a tough opening game assignment for Dwayne Alexander and the Golden Eagles. I think, again, as I said, after the UT Bowling Green game, the situation where you can go back and kind of pick the film apart and coach off of this and figure out what you did well and what you didn't, and try to improve from week 1 to week 2.
There you go. Moving on to Austin P, a 30-20 winner over Chattanooga. Go on the road to get this one.
First win for new Govs coach Scotty Wallen.
Seems like we say that every year.
About Austin P?
First year coach. But it's because their coaches do well and leave.
Well, the last couple anyway. Yeah, they've had some turnover in that position, but this guy, I think he was an assistant down at Southern Miss. Did they hire him between the fall season and the spring season?
I think so.
Which wasn't exactly when you would expect or want to have turnover, but they made that move and kept it rolling. The Govs, here of late, really becoming a power in the OVC.
Yes, they are. And one of
have you seen that facility up there since they've redone it?
I have not. I would like to.
It's really nice. I mean, as a graduate of a former OVC institution, it's tough for me to give credit to anybody else, but they really did a great job with that.
I want to give a shout out to Draylon Ellis, quarterback of the Govs, going 23 for 33 with 325, 4 touchdowns. 6 times he hooked up with Benico Harley for 137 yards and that first touchdown of the season for Austin Peay. Benico Harley played at Ramsey High School in Alabama, and I covered him when I was down there, and that kid was a monster.
Is that Birmingham Ramsey?
Yes.
That's a relatively new school down there, isn't it?
No, but they're relatively new to success in football.
Okay.
And they've been really good the last 5 or 6 years. Okay. And Benico was on that first team that ended up winning a state championship. And I'm telling you, this kid is a game breaker. And obviously, as you see here, 137 yards. So I wanted to give him a shout out.
It's not a bad
for
night.
Sure. Drayton Arnold, not so great on the other side for Chattanooga, went 11 for 26. 130 yards and a touchdown and 2 picks. So tough night for him.
That'll get you big.
Western Kentucky, a 59-21 winner over UT Martin. I feel like, if UT Martin maybe had some family connections on that team, it might be a little better. I don't know.
How tough is it when you are a college football head coach and you've got a kid sleeping under your roof that there's no way you can get him to come to your place?
That's brutal. Oh, it just makes you cry.
Poor Jason Simpson.
Keon Howard gets things going. UT Martin got off to a 7-0 start here with that Howard on a 2-yard run, and he finished 20 of 43 passing for 195 yards with a touchdown. But Keon, obviously a dual threat guy, ran 12 times for 44 yards and a couple scores. So solid kid.
So he scored all 3 touchdowns, basically.
He did, in fact, have a hand in all 3 touchdowns.
Not quite enough against the Hilltoppers. I hate saying that.
Yeah. I don't like it either. I'm not a big fan. I think I don't like them because they're those chrome helmets. Like, why? That's just.
I have to admit, I kind of like the chrome helmets. I like the swag. That's about the only thing I like about Western.
I don't mind the swag. Chrome helmets to me feel like in the daytime, I feel like it's cheating because it's got to reflect off that, right? Like, come on.
That's interesting. I mean, it's
know.
obvious.
Maybe
but
not.
You would think it could create some issues. But apparently it doesn't, because if it did, they would done something about it.
They would have stopped them. All right. Couple of games this weekend in the state. Well, one game in the state is Nichols State. The Colonels travel up to the Lizardy Bowl.
The Lizardy Bowl? Okay.
Well, that's a Rugrats reference. That's how the little girl on Rugrats says Liberty.
Oh, goodness.
The statue of Lizardy.
Oh, goodness.
So
the Colonels coming to town. Don't guess they'll be hanging out down on Beale Street. That's unfortunate. It's tough to go to Memphis.
Probably wish they were.
They probably should. Actually, it might be the best thing for them. As part of the trip.
Yeah, this is a game that Memphis should have no problem with.
Ryan Silverfield coming back for his 2nd season, and they really seem to have just kind of continued rolling from where the guy that's at Florida State now, Mike Norvell.
Norvell, yeah.
I'm old. I don't know what your excuse is.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Memphis is just going to keep improving, and if they do, and they should get a look in this conference realignment coming up. I hope.
I don't know, because again, as we talk,
should. Yes,
I
will.
Should. Yeah. The names that we've heard that are going to the Big 12 do not include Memphis at this point. And I'm not sure what it is that they don't have that those others do. It's interesting.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
North Alabama hosting Southeast Louisiana. This should be a really interesting game. I mean, this is going to be a tough one for North Alabama. North Alabama did not end last season very well.
They had some injuries, didn't they?
They did, and they also had some opt-outs. But, not a great ending to 2020, so they'll be looking to get back on track against the Lions from Southeast Louisiana. I always like Southeast Louisiana. Sela. That's their – it's Sela and Tuna. Sela the Tuna. Sela the Tuna Ma. So,
as opposed to Eulala and Eulamo, which is what we used to call Louisiana Lafayette and Louisiana Monroe.
There you go. Yeah, the UNA roster probably it will definitely have some local flavor next year. I think that's where Carter Sadlowski is going to end up going after they offered him. So
got some good reports on him from Tennessee Valley prep coach Adrian Allen a couple weeks ago. In their opener, they beat somebody 17-8 in their season opener, and Carter got the start at left tackle, and he feels that that's where he projects at the next level. So.
Bryce Coates from Gallatin probably going to get some play along with Keldon Moore, also from Gallatin. So yeah. All right, we've got about 3 minutes left, and I want to talk about this for the rest of the way.
All right.
Tennessee State in Canton, Ohio, taking on a pretty good opponent, but this is a game in which Tennessee State kind of needs to make a statement, because when you're playing Grambling, one, you're playing tradition and history, but two, Eddie George's first game as a head coach.
Yeah, and this is a game that he's going to be measured by his fan base, I think, because again, it's Grambling, like you said. It's a national spotlight. They're playing at Canton, Ohio, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 3:00 start. It's on the NFL Network. So
all eyes on you, Eddie.
Yeah. What you gonna do, Coach George?
I'm just curious. I'm interested to see how this works out. I want to know what kind of offense he's going to run. I want to know what the players look like. I mean,
well,
we know they can kick field goals.
I hope whatever offense they're going to run is going to take advantage of Devin Starling at running back, the kid from Cane Ridge, who really burst onto the scene for them, back in the spring. And like you said, they can kick field goals with Antonio Zeta from Lincoln County. So
that kid can boot it.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've got a chance to make a big splash in a big-time situation, and it'll be interesting to see if they do.
The only problem is they start playing an hour after prime on ESPN2. That's the unfortunate part, as Jackson State takes on FAMU
in the Orange Blossom Classic. Yeah.
Do they play the fiddle songs or no?
My guess is they don't.
Well, they got much better music when FAMU's band's in town.
Well,
because
and don't sell J State's band short.
I've never heard J State's band, but I know FAMU's very, very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So should be fun. Should be a couple of fun HBCU games. Again,
those are on Sunday though.
Yeah,
so 2:00
Sunday.
2:00 Sunday, you can watch Jackson State on ESPN2, and then turn it over to NFL Network at 3:00 to watch Eddie George's debut as a head coach. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Also, again, flipping back to Saturday just a second, Monmouth at MTSU, 6:00 start.
All right. We'll be right back and talk SEC football. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today returns right after this.
Covering the teams you care about. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Once again, live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. Here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into this final segment on a Friday evening. I'm sorry, not final segment. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. Trying to get out of here early.
Wishful thinking.
I guess. Trying to get out of here early. Maybe I'm just hungry. Check out at Friday Night Lights TN on Instagram.
No, maybe.
Oh, man. Next to last segment on this Friday edition of Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, we jump into the Southeastern Conference. Again, we've previewed all 14 teams to this point, so we're going to lean on that knowledge, lean on that information as we look through the Southeastern Football Conference schedule. I guess technically we will be able to talk about Ole Miss and Louisville on Monday, but might as well talk about it now too.
We probably should talk about it now.
We can actually start with that one because I think it's the most intriguing matchup of the non, I guess, big games. You think?
I'm intrigued by LSU UCLA.
That's on the list.
Is it on the list?
Yeah, it's on the list.
Oh, my bad. Well, never mind.
So Alabama, Miami, Georgia, Clemson, and then LSU UCLA. We will talk about those in the next segment because they are part of our pick 'em.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
I missed it down there.
It's at the next to last.
I didn't
one,
scroll. I didn't scroll all the way down.
So
My bad.
of the remaining, games, this is the most
certainly
intriguing.
yeah, without question it is. I mean, anything involving Lane Kiffin is going to be intriguing.
Exactly.
But Matt Corral is kind of getting some national buzz in terms of Heisman candidacy. He's got some guys to throw it to, including another guy that came in as a quarterback, John Rice Plumlee, one of two multi-sport guys on that team, along with Jaron Ely. So, and there's some talent on the offensive side down there.
I struggle with John Rice because he spells it like Reese Hoskins.
Mm-hmm.
And they pronounce it differently.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, y'all got to figure out which one is which.
Well, and it's tough when you're on the radio because you have you have to say it. I mean, in print, all you got to do is make sure you spell it right. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it's Rice.
It is. It's just annoying because they say it differently and you spell it the same. I'm so confused.
Yeah.
English.
Yeah, but,
it's a great language.
This Ole Miss team, I think they're going to have a tough time cracking the Alabama A&M LSU triumvirate at the top of the West.
Yeah.
But if they can get off to a good start here, it makes things interesting over there.
I hope they get off to a good start, and I hope they're like 3-0 when they go to that Tennessee game, and then Tennessee whoops them.
Yeah,
that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
It'd be fun.
Be fun to whip.
Might be a little delusional.
Whip old Lane one good time. Oh, it's just not going to happen. I'm just saying it'd be nice if it did. Yeah, this game for me, I think is probably just going to be one of those. It's going to be an entertaining matchup because the offenses are good for both teams, and this is the type of game that you like to watch if you're a casual fan.
Yeah. I also think that this game could be the beginning of the end for Scott Satterfield in Louisville after the offseason he had with the flirtations at South Carolina that didn't go over so well and different things like that. I think the honeymoon is over for him up there.
Lamar Jackson ain't walking through that door.
No, he's not. No.
Other games around the SEC. And I want to ask you this because this is one of my favorite things that you can find on the Mothership's website is Vivid Seat ticket prices. Are you looking at this schedule?
I'm looking at the schedule,
but you're not looking at. Okay,
no.
What do you think is the most expensive game to get into right now for this weekend
in the SEC?
In the SEC, the most expensive game. It's exactly what you think it is.
It's either Alabama, Miami, or Georgia, Clemson.
It's Georgia, Clemson, okay. and it's almost double. Georgia, Alabama, Miami's $85 to get in, $156 for Georgia, Clemson, and that sounds cheap to me. That feels really cheap, but that's just the get in price. What do you think is the lowest ticket price
besides Vanderbilt ETSU?
How much money would you have to pay to get into the Vanderbilt ETSU game on Vivid Seats?
$26.
Show your driver's license.
You got one of the numbers right.
20 what?
You got one of the numbers right.
$6.
Wrong. It's the other number.
20.
$2.
$2.
$2 will get you in. You can't buy a hot dog for $2, but you can get in the game for $2. $2. Wow. Okay.
Vanderbilt doesn't want you to know that.
No, they don't.
Goodness gracious.
What's a ticket at the gate, JP? Do you know?
It's not $2.
No, it's probably, you could probably get in. I bet you they go as low as about $10. I bet you they have a $10 seat, general admission section. I'm not sure where that would be, but
$2.
So that's not that far off, but yeah, for an
Grab
ETSU
you a Vanderbilt ticket and some Trader Joe's wine for $2.
$2, yeah. That's
$2 Vandy, baby.
Well, that's the kind of crowd that's there, the wine and cheese crowd, as they say.
Wine and cheese. I always find that interesting, the ticket prices for the get-ins and whatnot. Auburn, to get in to see Auburn and Akron, which when this game was scheduled, I assume Terry Bowden was the coach at Akron.
Okay, now I wonder, I've not heard. Is he back?
I have no idea if he's back. I assume he probably is. I mean, I can't imagine that he's taken too much time after his, I mean, it was, I don't know. I don't know if he's back or not at Louisiana. What, Monroe?
No,
they're at Monroe. No, he and
that's right. He and Rich Rod
are at Monroe.
Yeah,
but
man, I'm behind.
When this game was scheduled,
right.
I think Terry was probably the coach at Akron. So
I would think so. The Bowden Bowl,
and then is there a game on this schedule that you say I can, and Terry is going to play at Kentucky if he's on the sideline. If not, it's Rich Rod. But is there a game on this schedule where you say the SEC team has a
chance of
losing
on this schedule?
Outside of obviously A&M, obviously Alabama, Georgia, and LSU, anything on this schedule, do you think anybody could lose?
Here's what's funny. I was going to ask you that question.
Well, I can answer it.
I guess my two guesses would be Mississippi State, Louisiana Tech.
Yep.
And Rice, Arkansas.
I think Arkansas is going to be a lot better than people think. I think Arkansas, which it's unfortunate where they play in the SEC West. I think they're going to be better than people think. I think Missouri could potentially lose to Jim McElwain, which I don't know if Jim's back. I don't know if Mac's back. But even if he's not, I think Central Michigan has always been one of those teams that can sneak up on you.
Mm-hmm.
And Missouri, I just don't. I mean, it all depends on their quarterback play. And as good as he was against Tennessee last year, had they played him the entire game against Tennessee, Missouri would have beaten Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, I think And I think it's the quarterback that
makes them.
Able to take care of business against the Chippewas. But I think Louisiana Tech
That's the
poses.
Game. That is the game that I am most concerned about if I'm an SEC fan is Mike Leach's offense. Gosh, I almost said Price. Almost said Price, and that's where I was like, I know that's not right.
No, that's not right.
Mike Leach's offense can either go one way or the other, and
we've seen it.
We've seen it go both ways. So you never know what you're going to get with La Tech, man. You can get into that game for as low as $5. Go to Davis Wade for $5.
Well, of course you have to go to Starkville to do it.
There's nothing. Starkville, top 3 college town for me.
Okay.
I know you don't like it. You won't stay there.
If the reason for Starkville is to go to a game, it's not a bad place.
Say what?
If the reason for going to Starkville is to go to a game, it's not a bad place.
Okay. If you're there on game day,
you're getting the best of Starkville.
It's a really nice town. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And here's the thing, most of the overwhelming majority of the college football games that I've been to, I was not going to as a fan. And so
there's that.
It's kind of tough to get that feel.
I think my thought process, places like Auburn and Starkville, it's like small town high schools where the entire town shuts down for the game. Now, obviously there are, the downtown shops are open, and it just has this sort of small town feel because it is a small town with a college sitting in the middle of it. So that's why I think it to me, it reminds me of like old school, small town high school football where they got going to the game plastered on the wall and that sort of thing. So that's why Auburn probably in there, Starkville. I've not been to some others, but Clemson is a really solid college town too. Mm-hmm. So East Tennessee State Vanderbilt. What has to happen for Clark Lee to be successful in this game?
I'd like to think that at worst, if they just hand the ball off 35 times and just pound on ETSU, that they can take care of business.
Remember, ETSU played in the spring. So their last game was April 10th.
So they've got a little cohesiveness to them.
Either that or they're tired.
Or they're tired.
One of the two. Rest or rust. I don't know.
And we've talked to some folks about this. We talked to Greg Sykes down at Jacksonville State. We asked Matt Wilson, the commissioner of the Gulf South Conference in D2, what that was going to look like for some of these FCS teams going from spring play to fall play. But yeah, again, I just think I don't think Vanderbilt can afford to go into this game working on stuff. It's Clark Lee's debut. We've seen the uprising of UT fans that are upset over this 38-6 win.
But Ken Seals is your best player.
I think they've got some running backs that they are going to want to try to get established. And again, just let that offensive line lean on the Buccaneers for 4 quarters.
Well, Seals and Mike Wright are going to play, both of them.
Oh yeah, and I think that's going to be the case all year. I think you're going to see some Mike Wright. I think you need to see some Mike Wright because Vanderbilt, again, it's Vanderbilt. You're going to have to give some folks some different looks. You have to do something different at Vanderbilt. You can't play the way everybody else plays.
It is a different animal. It is a completely different beast. You're 100% right about that. I totally agree with you. So, I think you got to show some, at least a little bit though, of a reason to be excited to come back to Vanderbilt football.
Well, yeah. I mean, and 3 yards in a cloud of dust isn't going to do it, but I think you want to be sure you get the win as well. So
I don't disagree. I'd love to know who's going to play running back for them. It's probably going to be Junior Ramon Davis.
I believe so. I believe that's the primary guy for him.
I got a couple of freshmen there, Patrick Smith and Dylan Betts-Pauley out of Hoover. And then Rincon, Georgia's Rocco Griffin. Rocco. R-O-C-K-O.
If that ain't a football name.
Let's go. I'm here for it.
I'm excited to see Emory Jones under center for Florida.
It will be a new day for Dan Mullen, another quarterback. We'll see how he does with him. I think you're right. He's going to be good. All right, when we come back, we got to pick them. So stick around. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, returns right after this.
From preps to pros and everything in between, it's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the League Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yow.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mo Patton, Chris Yow. JP Plant with you here, and JP is going to take over this next segment for us, and he's going to tell us all the games we have to pick. But again, if you are looking to join our college football pick'em, you can do that. Our link is pinned on Twitter. So just go in there. If you've got an ESPN account, you can just sign right in and we will get you going. So again, this is going to be against the spread. So remember, not straight up, Mo. Not straight up.
Gotcha.
All right.
We ready?
JP,
We ready?
take it away, my friend.
All right, guys. We are going to get started here. Once I get back, there we go. All right, our first game up is going to be... Hang on a second, guys. You asked if I was ready. I asked if you were ready. All right, here we go. Penn State at Wisconsin. This game is at Wisconsin, and the Badgers are a 4.5-point favorite.
In Wisconsin, just 4.5 points.
That's correct.
Ah, man. I'll tell you, it's hard to play at Camp Randall. We all know that. It's early in the year, so weather's not going to be much of a factor, and even if it was, it's Penn State, so they can handle it. The difference is you're telling me that they're basically a 1.5-point favorite if you're given home field advantage 3 points. And that's a little ridiculous for the number 12 team in the country. So Wisconsin gets this one.
Well, the whole team, Mo.
Ditto.
Ditto.
I mean,
All right.
I just think it's going to be tough for Penn State to go in there and keep this thing within a touchdown at Wisconsin. If it was Happy Valley, obviously, different situation.
All right. I am believer in James Franklin. Imagine that. I like Penn State in this one. I like him to cover.
You do you, JP.
Yep. All right. We move on. Up next, it is going to be Oklahoma versus Tulane. This game originally is supposed to be, I believe, down at Tulane. Of course, Hurricane Ida. It is now in Oklahoma. Tulane is a 24.5-point dog against the Sooners.
I'm intrigued as to how this game was going to be at Tulane to start with. I'm interested in that and haven't had a chance to go back and look at how that came about. Regardless, 24.5. It's a lot of points, but with the game in Norman and with them trying to get Spencer Rattler out in front as a Heisman candidate, I think Oklahoma covers even as big a number as that is.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Mo. Absolutely. Spencer Rattler is, if nothing else, Oklahoma knows how to get quarterbacks to win Heisman trophies. And one of the reasons that they're able to do that is because of games like this. Spencer Rattler and a half could go for a ton.
A bunch.
And I don't know enough about Tulane to really understand them, but I do know that recent history has not been good to the Green Wave. So 24.5 is probably a little low. I got the Sooners as well.
I will make that 3 on the Sooners. Too much power, and you can't overstate them playing at home.
That's an awfully big number, though.
Well,
Yep.
the only thing is, does Lincoln Riley pull up? That's your only question there.
I'm not confident in that pick, but that's what I'm going with. All right, Alabama and Miami, neutral site game. This is Orlando, right? Isn't that where they're playing this game? I think it's Orlando. Either way,
I think it is Orlando.
Alabama, an 18.5-point favorite over the Hurricanes, ranked 14th, by the way.
The number 14 Hurricanes, huh?
That's right.
I don't think Alabama is going to come into this game worried too much about De'Aaron King. And I think they're going to leave wishing they had worried a little more about him. But I don't think it's going to make a difference in the outcome of the game. But I think Miami covers this one. Also, this game is in Atlanta.
It's Atlanta, okay.
The number scares me, especially when Alabama's going out there with a sophomore making his first career start at quarterback. But, it's Nick Saban. I'm going to take Alabama to cover this.
Yeah, Alabama has proven to me in the past that they somehow make it worthwhile. They don't take games off, so I like Alabama as well to cover in that
18
one.
and a half?
Yep,
It's a lot of points.
that's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points with a first-time starter quarterback.
Alabama.
I get it.
Yep, Alabama. Here's an interesting one. Sorry, you need to finish there, Mo?
No. I don't need to finish it. Go ahead.
All right, sorry. Indiana and Iowa. This game is at Iowa, and the Hawkeyes a home favorite by just 4.5.
Well, I can understand why they would be a favorite by just 4.5. I'm surprised they're a favorite at all. This is an Indiana team that has a returning quarterback who was fantastic last year. And this Hoosiers team probably only got better because I'm sure they got several super seniors. They didn't have a lot of folks drafted off that team. I think Indiana's going to go in and get a win. So straight up, give me the Hoosiers.
I agree. I think Tom Allen is really doing something special there in Bloomington, and I think they're coming off of a more than solid performance last year and looking to back that up with another one this time around. And I think they, as much as they did last year, I think they still have a chip on their shoulder, and I think they're going to prove that this starting Saturday. I've got the Hoosiers straight up as well.
Both very valid points. And 51% of the people in this poll or on this site are going with the Hoosiers to cover.
JP's in the other 49.
I'm in the 49.
Sounds like.
Here's why. My rationale. As a Vandy fan, anytime that Vandy, gets a little pub, a little credit, expectations go up, kind of falter, almost that Auburn effect to some degree. I think Indiana, to start out, they're ranked. It's a lot of pressure they're not used to. I think Iowa sneaks in. Iowa wins this one, and they cover.
All righty then.
All right, so up next, a little backyard brawl here. West Virginia, Maryland. They used to play every year until I think Maryland left the ACC to the Big Ten. So this game is a 3.5-point favorite for the Mountaineers of West Virginia.
I would really like to take Mike Loxley and the Terrapins in this ball game. I can't do it. Can't do it. I'm taking the Mountaineers to cover.
So the thing about Maryland is, like you said, it's Mike Loxley, and I wish I could, off the top of my head, their quarterback is Talia Tagovailoa.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw this kid play in high school a couple of times. He's fantastic, and in Mike Loxley's offense, I think he could be very good. I don't know that they have the speed to handle West Virginia, so I'm going to go with West Virginia, but I don't like it.
All right, I'm going with West Virginia, and I like it. I think they've got more to prove, so I'm going with West Virginia in this one. All right.
I just like Mike Loxley better than I like whatever
the guy that used to be at Troy.
Yeah.
Neil
Neil
Brown.
Brown.
There we go.
All right.
Man, we've struggled with some names today.
This is the first time we've talked about college football on our show in a year outside of the SEC. So
true.
give us a little bit of a break, I guess.
That's true. The Sun Belt on full display this weekend. A lot of eyes will be on them, in particular Louisiana, the Raging
The eyes of
Cajuns.
Texas.
Yep, exactly. Well done. They're going to be in Austin. Nicely done. Oh, nope. There we go.
I gave myself it.
Yep, there you go.
Give it to me.
They're in Austin, and the Longhorns are a 9.5-point favorite at home.
And Steve Sarkisian is going to be looking for something to prove. He does not want to. he wants to get Tom Herman out of the rearview mirror and as far gone as possible. I like Texas to cover this number, even against a Louisiana team that did some great things last year with Billy Napier, and should be pleased to have him back after all the moves that took place over the offseason. I'm going with the Longhorns in this one, at home in particular.
Not so fast, my friend.
All right,
Oh,
Lee.
boy.
Look, I think Texas is going to win this game. But I think Levi Lewis is going to be a very difficult player to stop for the Longhorns. I think Texas is going to win just based off of depth and being able to push Louisiana around late, but this is no.
They don't
They will
cover.
not cover 9.5 points. I do want to know, however, how Louisiana's punter, RHYS Burns, says
Pronounces
his
it.
name. He's the tiebreaker.
All right. I like the Raging Cajuns to cover as well. I'm a believer in that one. All right. Real quickly, guys, a quick answer on this one because we got some big ones to come up. It is Texas Tech at Houston. This is at NRG Stadium, and Texas Tech a 2.5-point favorite.
Houston, straight up.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to talk about this one anyway, and I'm going to go with the Cougs as well.
Perfect. I like the Cougars as well. All right. In Charlotte, Georgia, Clemson. The Tigers of Clemson a 3.5-point favorite in this one.
I think you have to look at this game as it's a pick 'em straight up, but it's all about the experience in big games right now. And yes, Clemson's quarterback, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name.
DJ Uiagalelei.
Sure. DJ. DJ, the QB, has had some experience in a big game against Notre Dame. Now, granted, the defense struggled in that one, but he put up points galore. That's why Clemson wins and covers in Charlotte.
All right.
I'd agree.
All right. Thank you, Mo, for that quick one because we got to move on. We got 2 minutes left to get these two games in.
Hey, where's yours?
I like Georgia. I like Georgia.
Okay.
SEC homer there. I like them. LSU at UCLA, 4.5-point favorite for the Bayou Bengals.
That's all.
Yeah, I got
4.5.
LSU by a mile.
Yeah, that's child's play.
All right, LSU for all of us. There we go. All right, 90 seconds left for the end of the show. We've got BYU taking on Arizona. This game is in Las Vegas, and BYU an 11.5-point favorite over the Wildcats.
Yeah, that's a lot of points, but Arizona's not been very good, and BYU has been. So I'm going to go with the Cougars.
The same.
I'm going with Arizona. That's a lot of points.
Well, you do.
It is a lot of points.
Yeah, that's
It is a lot of
It's two
points.
touchdowns.
I'm taking a flyer on that one. Just taking a flyer,
Okay.
a
I
Wildcat
hear you.
flyer on the Arizona Wildcats. All right, there we go, guys.
There you go.
Chris, where can people join in on this?
Check out our Twitter at SM_TN Sports on Twitter. It is our pinned tweet. So go there and join in. We would appreciate it. Stick around on WKOM and WZYX for pregame football, high school football pregame show coming your way, previewing 13 of the most intriguing games across the state from East, West, and Middle Tennessee. So going to be a lot of fun. Mo and I really enjoy that one. And JP does a great job getting some great guests and asking some great questions. We've got Noah McKay, Tate Russell, and
Matthew Cooper
out of West Tennessee. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Come back next week. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Day, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint on Monday. Have a great one.